Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Banner and Backbone with Centered America. They're not here yet. It is before the holidays, so we'll see if everybody shows up. As people come in, we'll pull them on. Good morning, everyone. I'm Nick Parrow, joined by my good friends, Melissa Corrigan. My dog's in the background. And this gentleman on the bottom, Frederick Pogue. Welcome back, sir. Good morning,
Thank you.
Melissa. How are
Yeah.
you guys today? Because, like you said before the show, Fred, you
Right.
stepped away for a bit, and it seems like democracy is having some issues.
Yeah.
Um,
The breakers have been thrown, like stuff's left out in the yard. I was like, I came home to the house on fire and I'm like, but to be fair, it was a little on fire before I left, so
it was.
This
It
is
was a
true.
little on fire.
it was a little on fire, and I'm like, okay.
Dumpster
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah. And, the Trump administration's just pulling in the distractions and craziness every day, because it's just, you've got Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy worried about pajama pants, which
Them
I mean,
pajama pants.
yeah, I know. I'm like, yeah, but what about the October jobs report? I mean,
No.
companies are
Those
laying
aren't
off.
important.
No, companies are laying off an average of 13,500 workers a week. I mean, I don't know, and then now the
No.
CDC, they got the number 2 guy there, is saying that you don't need to worry about COVID vaccines. They're not important because they cause autism. I really wish these people
Yeah.
would lose their license, like at some point, and just
Right.
you know,
For
like
saying shit like that, yeah.
right. It's. I mean, my God, some of this stuff you're just like, there has to be a line, there has to be something, right? You
Well,
have
you
to
got
operate
like
within.
you got them talking about how we're like 2,000 air traffic controllers short in the
Yeah.
nation. But then, Reddit always comes through for you. There's a whole thread on Reddit for people who are actively air traffic controllers, and they talk about how shittily they're treated on the job. Like
Yep.
one guy posted that he called out sick 3 times in his first year. 3 times. That's it for
Yep.
legitimately being sick, and his contract was not renewed after his 1 year. And so, like, why are you guys bitching about being so understaffed if you get employees and they get sick 3 times in a year?
Which is,
And
I mean, that's the
Wait,
crazy
people get
part is,
sick? You're allowed to get sick? Did the government issue sickness to you? Like, I don't remember the
right.
government. I don't remember, or did the company issue that as a
they did in the Marine Corps.
as a
Yeah.
benefit? Like,
Yeah.
I know
They
I
did
know in the army you weren't allowed to get sick unless the government told you it was okay to be sick, if you know
No.
what I
in the
mean.
Yeah,
The
we
Marines. They
said
government
in the
did
policy.
issue.
Navy, like, if it didn't come in your sea bag.
Yeah, you're
No,
not
they
allowed
did
to
issue
have that.
sickness to us in the Marine Corps. It was in the chow hall.
I
Like,
wonder if
Hmm.
that's a new
you were gonna
corporate
get it.
policy for America is they have to
Right.
they not only do you get allocated only a certain number of sick days, but you're not even you're only allocated a certain number of sicknesses per year. Like,
Right.
but they won't
Well,
pay
this
for
is
the health insurance to prevent you from getting the extra ones. You just have to do it yourself.
this is part and parcel though with like how running the government like a business is an absolute failure.
Yes.
Be,
Yes.
because you look at something like if there's a job in the government that you want those like to be fully staffed, it's air traffic controller.
Right.
And especially now
Yeah.
with, I mean, U.S. aviation companies are predicting that their air travel is going to increase by a quarter, more than 25% more than it is now, which it's already like the congestion's out of control, especially in the
Right.
Northeast corridor, right? And I for those of you who don't know, I used to work in aviation, so I worked for there for 8 years. So I follow stuff in aviation, so I know what I'm talking about. With so you have air traffic. I don't care how good your operation is. I don't care if you got the gate agents, if you got the rampers, if you've got the metal, if you've got the planes. If you do not have the air traffic controllers to control the flight path, those planes are grounded. They are going to be delayed. It is
Right.
going to be a problem. And that's why Sean Duffy came out and said that, is because it's like, you're going to distract with this nonsense when
Yeah.
we are probably in for our worst holiday travel season in recent memory because of Sean Duffy and because of Doge and all the cuts. We'll know after after the we'll get a preview after this Thanksgiving holiday. But I bet, just like with the GDP going down or going up, they're hoping that a lot of people aren't traveling, though. See, it was really smooth. It's like, yeah, because 2 million people stayed home.
Because nobody can afford to travel.
Right.
Nobody can afford to do anything. It's probably also going to be the lowest, like, taken holiday or vacation time this year. Like, people
and can we also talk about the continuation of that Reddit thread was other air traffic controllers giving the advice to this first year guy that you go to work sick, you take your Robitussin and Sudafed on top of each other, and I was like, holy fucking shit. So you guys are zonked out of your fucking mind, robo tripping over here while you're conducting this very pivotal, important job.
Yeah, cool. And it's known for being extremely stressful. Like, there's people that, you know,
doesn't it have one of the highest suicide rates of any profession in the country?
It might. It definitely it's a high suicide rate, and it also has a high burnout due to you know, mental exhaustion and mental issues. Because, I mean, you know, things can go haywire, and hundreds of people are going to die on your watch. Like, you know, like, because it's just, and you go from, like, I mean, imagine like you work, you're overworked, you're tired, you're coming in for like a Tuesday, and then all of a sudden, you know, there's an issue that's life or death for potentially hundreds, if not thousands of people. And now suddenly you have to be alert and remember your training and like be on your best. Right. You would think, like, and again, I saw this not in that as that intense, but like aviation itself, which has, you know, the air traffic controller mirrors it, where it's just this lean and mean concept. You know, they'll let workers work 24, 36 hours. Like, there's easy ways to get around it. And, you know how many personal injury, like, investigations I worked as an ops manager because somebody was, it's like, they hit somebody with a tug because they fell asleep because they were on like their 25th hour at work, and nobody stopped. Like, nobody sent them home, right? Because they couldn't send them home because it's like, I critically need this employee. I'm already short, right? So I can't send this person home. I had to extend them, you know? And it's like, yeah, you've gotten away with that for like 19 out of 20 times, but man, that 20th time, you know, then it's like you're, you know, a pushback has run over somebody's legs. Yeah. And they're, you know, like they're done. They either die on the ramp or they'll never walk again. Right. They're amputated below the knee or something like that. You know, and that's just that's not, you know, what air traffic controllers go through. So you would think that with airlines getting ready to increase year over year up to 25% of what we're doing now, and as with having the worst like air disaster since 9/11 on Sean Duffy's watch. I know he tried I've only been on the job for a week. Oh, I'm sorry, princess. Oh, I thought you were trained for this job. Can you imagine if we did that in the military? It's like, hey, Top, I've only been on the job for a week, bro. Give me a break.
I didn't mean to nuke him. I didn't mean to drop that nuke. I didn't do that. On like, that grenade didn't fall on itself.
Hey, enemy of America, I'm sorry. I've only been in country and deployed for a week. You know, you can't be shooting at me right now. I can't handle a firefight. I'm sorry.
Right.
Yeah.
What?
Like, you get hired ready for those types of jobs. You don't just get hired to learn on the job. That's not a learn on the job. That's a I know what the fuck I'm doing job, and I'm here to strategically plan.
this has been the whole cartoon cabinet, though. This has been
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
them. They're all so woefully inadequate and unprepared and unqualified for their jobs. That's why I always call them the cartoon cabinet. They're each like cartoon characters of some vision of what MAGA thinks the head of the FBI does or the head of DHS does. So they put these like cartoon characters in place, and they have no concept of what they're doing, and it shows in absolutely every single thing they do.
Oh,
Yeah,
It-
and I think that's good to note too, is it's all cartoon characters and they're not ready to be there, which means
no.
No.
they can be removed. Part of this discussion today, why I call it Tag for You're It for Democracy. One, is a fun slogan to say. It's Tag, You're It for Democracy. It's your fucking turn. Step up, everybody. It's all on us. It's not on anybody else. Like, it's our job to do this. And we've got 11 months until the next election. Actually, we have 12. We have a total of 12 months up to the next election. The next election, we have 11 months of prep time, though, which means in that time, we have to be able to talk about folks like Sean Duffy and the inadequacies of his micro ego, and the inadequacies of Stephen Miller's micro ego, and Pete Hegseth's micro ego, and JD Vance's micro ego, and all of them, because they all need to be removed too. And one of the things I said before the show to Fred and Melissa here was something I talked about with Zev Shalev yesterday, is we have 11 months to figure out who the next president is going to be, because 2026 is a presidential election. It is not a midterm election. We need to treat it like it's a presidential election, because there's a distinct possibility that whoever the next Speaker of the House is after 2026, when there is a supermajority of pro-democracy candidates and pro-democracy legislators in both the House and Senate, and notice I'm not saying Democratic or Republican, this is not party affiliated. This is there. You need to be pro-democracy and pro-accountability, and you get held to that. And if you don't, you get fucking removed. Like,
It's
votes of
all
no
about
confidence
the
need to be
fucking
happening.
messaging.
Oh, yeah.
Democrats have got to get ahead of our messaging, like yester fucking day. We have
And
got to get on the messaging. We have to have simple, streamlined messages where we are talking to working people. Stop talking to the elites. Stop talking
Thank
to
you.
people at the top.
Thank
We've
you.
got to talk to the people. And I'm going to give you an example of how exactly this needs to play out, because my son works with a guy who's close to his age, and he's a total red pill MAGA kid, right? And so this kid comes in spouting off about Mamdani when he won, saying that Mamdani never worked a job in a day in his life, so how could he understand the plight of the working people? So the facts are that Mamdani worked for the goddamn housing authority, keeping families from losing their homes in foreclosure prevention. Who better knows the plight of the working family one-on-one than somebody that worked in that department, specifically doing that for years? Do you think Andrew fucking Cuomo knows the first thing about an immigrant family trying not to lose their house? Like, that's
No.
laughable, right?
No,
So
it's-
this is the messaging that Democrats have got to get out in front of.
No,
Yeah,
it's
and part of
it's
that
Donald
messaging is
Trump.
whoever is speaker is the next president. Like,
Right.
we need to, and fuck off Hakeem Jeffries. You are a weak,
No, God,
ineffective
no.
man.
No.
We need someone like AOC or Jasmine Crockett.
Yes.
And those are basically the two that I consider. Or what's her name out of, I think it's Connecticut. Salisbury is her last name. She's on point pretty much all the
She's
time.
good.
It cannot be weak, feckless men who have no balls, who are not willing to stand up for anything, who just want to take a bunch of money. It cannot be an AIPAC-backed fuckhead who just receives all sorts of Israeli money and corrupted money from mobsters out of Russia who funnel it through Israel and have corrupted that entire government and turned it into a mob state. That's what it is. That's what they're trying to do here, is they're trying to turn it into a mob state, not a presidency, not a democracy, not a republic, a mob state. And that's what we need to talk about it like. Stop talking about them like they're fucking politicians. They're not public servants either. They don't serve the public.
No.
But Jasmine Crockett would, and does, and goes
You
out there
can
and fucking
see
talks all the time
you-
and tells us what is effective and how to do it. And she's running for Senate. And I want to
Right.
get your opinions on this, like in terms of messaging. She's running for Senate or trying to run for Senate in Texas.
Mhm.
Same Senate seat, I think, as James Tallarico and a couple other candidates who are really strong. She came out and said, if my internal polls say I'm not the right candidate, I'm gonna bow out and talk and work with the right candidate to do it so that I can stay in the position I'm in to more effectively get someone in office. And I think we need people more like that, who are humble, who have the message that say, if I'm not the right person right here, right now,
yes.
but I am over here, then I need to be over here supporting that person right there. And
I think that you can tell that
convince
Jasmine
Jasmine Crockett to stay in the House, not
Yes.
run for Senate, because she needs to become the next speaker. I think
think
that
that
should be the
she-
Democratic messaging, is
she
Jasmine Crockett.
represents a politician who is actually representing and speaking for the people that she works for. And here's how I know that. Here's how you can tell who's a politician that's a fucking shill for corporations and who actually acts. And it is because of their what's the word I'm looking for? Okay, here's an example. When you're sitting watching these Senate hearing committees, all right, we're watching a committee, right? And you're watching Kash Patel act like a fucking child and refuse to answer questions. So what any elected representative who is representing the American people should say in that moment, when any of these people, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, Kash Patel, when they refuse to answer a question or they answer it with some fucking insolence, you should step back and say, listen, however many it is, the 1.3 million people I represent in my district do not deserve to be spoken to that way. So we are
Yeah.
going to put this fucking hearing on recess until you can speak to my constituents with the gravitas that they deserve. When you can act like an adult, we'll come back. Until then, you're still sequestered and you're going to fucking sit there. You can sit there until you eat your dinner. Do you
God
understand?
damn it.
Because you
Melissa
speak
for
to my
Senate.
constituents. So you're not going to speak to my constituents that way. So who do we have right now that's doing that? AOC and Jasmine Crockett.
And
That's
Melanie
who's doing that.
Stansberry was her name.
Yeah.
And Melanie
the other one-
Stansberry.
We
Right.
need more moms. We need
Correct.
moms for Congress. We need moms for Senate. We need moms for House. We need a mom for president. We need
I
a
would
mom
take
because I want to treat America like the best analogy that I've ever heard is America needs to be more like a family and run like a family, not like a business.
Right.
Where
oh yeah.
yeah, I might sometimes really, really hate that drunk uncle who isn't a rapist but says really creepy shit. We might hate him a lot, but he's still part of the family, and we have to find a way to live with them. And
Right.
who are the best people that solve those issues? Moms. Moms
Yes.
are. Moms
I
are, because they
kinda-
know how to fucking plan. They know how to run a household. They know how to manage irresponsible men and irresponsible boys and irresponsible girls and teenagers. And I'm not saying any woman. I'm not saying every woman is like this.
Right.
But there are plenty of really impressive women out there. And it doesn't have to be a mom. Jasmine Crockett, I don't think is a mom, but
No.
she's got that fucking energy. She's got that
Right.
mom energy that'll sit you down and shut your ass up and throw a chancla across the room and hit you from 45 meters away, fucking spinning around corners. Like, we need someone who is raised with the attitude of throwing shit at people in the household and saying, sit the fuck in the corner. You're dumb. You're wrong. Go to timeout. Like,
It has
I want a
been
mom
absolutely
coming in going,
astonishing
go to fucking timeout.
to me to see these people not held accountable for simply the unprofessional behavior that they display and the lack of decorum in those spaces. That should have been called immediately. I mean, like,
See,
Yeah.
like, what are you doing?
I don't want any more committee hearings. Like I'm over that. I don't want any more showmanship. I don't want any of that stuff. I want investigations.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the next Speaker of the House if we're really serious about taking our democracy back and taking this country back, they're gonna have, like, if they're not holding like J6 style investigations
Right.
and just
Mhm.
ripping the entire Trump regime apart, from the DOJ to the FBI to Treasury to emoluments, everything, just ripping it to shreds. And I don't care if it's AOC or Jasmine Crockett or Jamie Raskin, somebody.
Yeah.
You have to rip this stuff out by root and stem, right?
Yes.
Because there is a good chance that we are going to get a next speaker before the elections even happen. If the rumors are true,
Yeah.
and you're going to get a lot of Republican resignations, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is just the first, right? Then that's going to make Mike Johnson vulnerable. And if
Yes.
Democrats go, well, we're going to elect a bridge House Speaker,
No fucking
we're going to
bridge.
go with seniority with Hakeem Jeffries because we don't want to piss off the
Fuck outta
86
here.
Democrats that voted to condemn
Mm-mm.
socialism in a resolution that was fucking pointless.
Can
Right.
we remove all of them? Like, that's part
That
of
would be
this
great.
too. They need to get fucking primaried.
Like, we need to have a serious push for us on the ground. Is like, we need to push for whatever the next party is going to look like. Democrats, because look, if MAGA actually does fracture, right, and you have a bunch of, never Trumpers and this and that, and it's like the political landscape moving forward is going to be kind of chaotic, right?
Yes.
And my concern is Democrats aren't like, or whoever, it's like you're going to have all these never Trumpers join those 86, and they're going to drown out like any kind of progressives. And they're like, can't we just forgive and forget? Don't we all want to get back to normalcy?
Yeah.
Don't we want to get back to where corporate America has all the power and we don't really change anything, guys? Isn't that what we all want? No, we don't. Because we've tried that for 40 years, and all
Yep.
it has done is taken away the America that our grandparents built for us. With
Yes.
strong unions and middle class and working class, like where you could have like good public schools, you could have a shot at maintaining some kind of the American dream. And if you're
And
not
we
willing
have to
fight,
get in front of it now. Gen
Yeah.
X and millennials have to get in front of it, because Gen Z's coming and they're under a one-piece flag with lighters. They'll burn the fucking shit down. So if
Yeah.
we don't want to sit around and wait for Gen Z to burn it down like they have literally done in Myanmar, where they had to airlift the congressman out of the building because they literally lit it on fire. Y'all, that's what's coming for us if the adults in the room do not get it together. Because Gen Z is
Yeah.
going to show up, and they're going to show up with revolution like we can't even comprehend, really.
because they don't have
I
a choice.
want,
They
I
don't have a
don't,
choice.
I don't mind revolution, but we do need a plan. Like, that's
Right.
the thing, is like, we cannot come into any sort of reformation, revolution, restoration, revival, whatever we want to call it, when we come out of this on the other side, without a plan. And so we're talking a lot of, like, that's our big focus, is we have 12 months until the
Yes.
November 2026 elections. We have less time than that with this president. And we can effectively make less time with this entire administration too, by fucking fracturing the Republican Party. And
Oh, yeah.
Fred, you made the point that everybody is making right now is MAGA and the regressive Republican Party itself are fracturing. They're in a civil war. They're fighting each other. They are actively
Hopefully.
doing it, and we should not be stopping it. We should be
No, God,
promoting
no.
it in every
Yes.
fucking way possible. We should be using tools like Adam Kinzinger to flood the Libertarian Party with money, because they're a fully national third party that can run a ticket, and we don't want it to be Marjorie fucking Taylor Greene, because that's what she's positioning herself to be, is run for president with a fractured MAGA party and claim to be a centrist, reformed Republican, but she's fucking not. She's not. She says Jewish space lasers. She's a fucking bigot, a white nationalist,
Her
Christo-fascist.
resignation letter was all over the map. It was insanity.
Boy,
She
that
wants to be
woman, I tell
president.
you.
But we need to fracture them. So what do you guys think about, like, how do we get there? What is your guys' plan over the next, between the three of us? Just between the three of us here, what's your plans over the next 12 months to fucking break the Republican Party into millions of pieces? What you
My
guys
I think
plan
it.
and what I do is write in plain speak and talk to
Yeah.
someone who's educated at a 6th, 7th, 8th grade level, can understand what I'm writing and understand how these big picture political issues impact them every day. And that's what Democrats need to be doing. If we don't go back to talking to the working man, we're sunk. We're done.
I think we need to push like there's a coalition of progressive voters that needs to happen within the party of the Democrats and outside of the party. And it needs to focus around issues. It needs to focus because here's the thing is like when you poll after poll shows that issues that are considered like socialist are popular, more popular than ever. Universal health care. Why? Because the private health insurance industry has failed us. It has absolutely failed Americans. People are dying as a result of it. So people are like, screw this. We want what other countries already have. Affordable housing. Affordability is going to, like, across the board is
affordability, accountability.
Right. Affordability, accountability. The 2 A's, right? We need to.
We're all going through AA then, aren't we?
We are.
This is our AA, our group AA.
Yeah.
We're taking over that word because AA is a Christian. Alcoholics Anonymous has a lot of like Christofascism built into it and like grift built into it, which really sucks because they're supposed to help people. But anyway, we're taking that symbol back too.
But that's the thing. If you don't push for politicians to do that, I think the Democrats are going to be in as much trouble as the Republicans will be. Because what I think you're seeing is you're finally starting to see the up versus down. It's starting to coalesce because there's no choice left. Because the rich are not going to stop until they have. Look at and you can see the game is rigged. Elon Musk is a trillionaire for what? For tanking Tesla? Like, how do you get rewarded for tanking your own stock in the company? Like, oh, if you run it and so it's what did Doge do, right? It's the biggest scam of all time. It's the biggest grift, bigger than anything Trump could have imagined. It's like he got all of our data, all of it. And what did he do? He basically ran up costs when you factor in like all the people that got fired and had to be rehired, all the economic impact that it had by cutting these programs.
220 billion.
Oh, when you factor all the other stuff in, it's closer to 800. It's closer to $1 trillion. Right. And he got our data to give it to Gronk or whatever, which he'll fuck that up anyway, because it's like you're not being white enough. You're not worrying about the rich white man that has multiple women and is breeding. It's like, because Gronk, he just wants, literally this guy has AI because he wants a friend, because no one likes him. You know, that's all that Gronk is at this point, or Gork or whatever you call it. But yeah, I mean,
like a Hitler.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, and the crazy thing is, did you guys see the he did do one thing that was interesting. So X decided to put country of origin for these accounts, and they found all these MAGA's accounts are from Africa and India and the Middle East, because it's like people that are living in these impoverished nations but have access to the internet, and $200 or $300 in ad revenue a month can go a hell of a lot further over there. Are like pumping out all this information and making us stupid. We are literally being pumped full of mis and disinformation by the biggest like foreign influence scheme ever. It's insane.
5th gen war. It's a 5th generation war, and MAGA got duped by a bunch of eagle jizz coming out of Africa and Israel and China and Russia. It's all eagle jizz just getting squirted on us, and MAGA bought it. And the Dems who are corporatists are soaking in it, and they're just letting it happen. And they like the white Christmas that happened on them. This is all for that white Christmas that they all want and like.
We got to get rid of the Chuck Schumers, man. We got to
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
rid of these people that are either they're too
Anyone who's
isolated or
eagle
they're too
jizzed
bought.
needs to go.
They got to go on. And it's in, that's going to be the big thing for us is like really hitting the ground with primaries and really holding politicians' feet to the fire and just trying to get, that because where we're moving into is a fracturing of our American political system in this. And I think it's a good thing because it's going to become up versus down. And what that looks like afterwards, I don't know. But we do have a chance to where we can take the Democratic Party and push it forward and say, you're going to be a progressive party. But if we don't have that Tea Party movement, if we don't have that push in that Democratic Party, then you're going to see MAGA fracture. And then people like Marjorie Taylor Greene that are trying to rehabilitate their image and say, I was duped. You don't get duped into white supremacy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
You don't. You weren't duped. It's not like suddenly coming like, Nick, I saw this internet post about Christo-fascism and that's a damn good idea. I think I'm going to do that now. It's like, no, you were already there, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
This guy just said, I got it a little bit of more of a packaging. You want to buy it? It's like, I do. So you were there, right? You don't just, it's like, I was a feminist, but I hate women now. They're just terrible, because I got turned down on a date on a dating app. So now I'm going to be a raging red pill guy. No, you were already kind of there. And they just gave you a little bit to get you over the hump, to get you a little more radicalized. That's it. There's no duping in it. So let's get that out of the way. It's like Marjorie Taylor Greene, when she's down on bended knee in that little farce of a fucking, remember when they had the J6er who was locked up? And I think it was at
J6 hostages.
Yeah. And she's doing that. And it's like, girl, it's easy to see why. Before she ran for Congress, she was worth several $100,000 in assets. Now she's worth 25 million in like 5 years. And she also has a pension for life.
Well, that'll go away when the insurrection charges and treason charges go through, because guess what? Part of this 12-month plan too is,
and that's what I want, Nick.
Has to be part of the zeitgeist. It has to be like part of all of this, all of the accountability and affordability. Our 12-step plan for democracy includes discussing treason openly, honestly, earnestly, and often, because we cannot allow what Donald Trump did to the words election interference and fake news around elections to be the same thing he does to treason, because there has to be things he cannot corrupt. We have to get ahead of it before he does. There's a reason he said seditious treason. There's a reason he is going after Mark Kelly specifically. Because Mark Kelly is a fucking American hero. He is an astronaut. He is a retired pilot. He's
everything Trump isn't.
Recalled. He cannot be recalled to active duty as a retired pilot unless there is an act of fucking Congress. Like, it's an act of Congress to unretire that man. He's a fucking astronaut. He's not getting court-martialed. And Melissa Corrigan, Fred Pogue, and I all participated in the message with the Save America movement to push back against that shit. And that is what the Democrats need to do more. The Democrats need to give us money to do that if we want to win. And if the Democratic Party, locally or nationally, really wants to win under the guise of the Democratic Socialist Party, or maybe even a social democracy party. Like, I don't care what the fuck you name it.
I don't care.
Throw money at us to make these advertisements. Throw money at Save America movement to make these
Right.
fucking advertisements because we're here saying we want to do it. We want to be the messaging machine.
This
We're
is one of those
ready
things
to
where the
be the
Democratic Party
voices.
stands on this fucking moral high ground of, well, the right does it and that's pretty shady, so we're not gonna, like, stop. We have to, like, this,
Stop. Yeah.
unfortunately, you've allowed the Republicans to set and lay the entire game board. We have to play on their game board now because they have spent since 1945 building the game board while we're over here playing
Even
performative
before that.
politics. So we have to play the game as it's laid. We have to. We don't have a choice at this point.
Yeah,
I mean,
we have
all
to
you-
think even further. They've been setting this game board since the Civil War. They've been setting it because Nazis
Yes.
were inspired by the Confederacy. Nazism was inspired by American fascism,
Yep.
by the
Yeah.
American version, which was the Confederacy. And then it became the German American Bund before World War II, where you started seeing Nazi summer camps pop up in America, which look an awful, awful, awful lot like those all white Mormon Christo-fascist summer camps and Bible camps that we see now, just without the Nazi paraphernalia so obvious.
Right.
But it's all there. It never went away. Nazism was spawned by America. Let's maybe confront ourselves before we start comparing them to, let's stop comparing them to Nazis anymore, because that really doesn't impact people. They're going to use the paraphernalia. Yeah, we're still going to compare them to Nazis because that's who they are. But we need to go back further and we need to start using American terms and American terminology and taking back the patriotism, because I'm tired of fucking being treaded upon by these please tread on me daddy people who want to listen to Sky Daddy or Trump Daddy and have fucking golden rain showered down upon them and squirting eagle jizz everywhere, because you got these tiny little micro ego men running around the country telling us we can't do things or women shouldn't do things. And I'm tired of fucking having people tell me that my daughter does not deserve to have the same free choice as my son, or that Melissa doesn't get to deserve the same free choice as I do, or Jasmine Crockett shouldn't be a legislator, or any of that bullshit. Fuck them. We need cojones
Right now,
to come out. We need some vaginal fortitude to get to go. We need some Kegel lovers to fucking punch some dude in the face verbally, take down people like Jasmine Crockett does. That's why I fucking love her, because she fucking takes you down. Like somebody said in the chat, she's Michelle Obama without the filter.
Yes.
Like that's what we need. She's Michelle Obama without the let's go high when they go low. No, when they fucking go low, I'm going to go low and kick you in the balls.
Right.
Like, fuck you.
You're right now,
go
a perfect
low and then kick
opportunity
me.
for Democrats to seize messaging and get out in front of messaging is, are you going to let your son, your nephew, your grandson go die in Venezuela for oil? Let's talk about the 18 fucking ships. All of you want to support the troops.
Yep.
All of you want to have your American flag on everything and talk about how much you fucking support the troops.
Yep.
Where are you right now when I plug in the Venezuelan conflict into 4 different chat bots this morning and tell me the reason the United States and 4 different chat bots tell me oil, 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 oil.
Well, they
We're
said
there
it.
for oil and natural resources, and that's it.
They
And you know
said it.
what else? We are there for a global positioning that we already had via US aid that Trump took out in 2019.
And then
So
had
you
to pay
want us to have a
Argentina
hard
$40
presence in
billion.
a space where we already had a soft presence by putting our young men and women on the ground there to go get killed by guerrilla fucking cartel members? That's what you want? Let's talk about it, Republicans. Let's talk about war. Let's talk about the military. You want to be a badass and go in other countries? Let's talk about the next Vietnam. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's talk about the fact that news is coming out, say, through The Intercept or even in Al Jazeera or fucking New York Times, that plans are leaking to keep troops in the Caribbean through 2028.
Right.
18,
Yeah.
like we have 18 fucking naval vessels with over 15,000 soldier or sailors and Marines just chilling. And guess what? They're going to start a war in the next couple days or next couple weeks. Like that's what they're building to. There are bombers, there are B-2 bombers that are being stealth bombers that have been flown into position around and near these areas. Shane Yurick saw them. Shane Yurick's wife or fiance, I think, saw them in person, firsthand knowledge of B-2 bombers fucking flying over. They're positioning people for war.
Yes.
We
Sure.
are getting
And
ready
it can
to
be
have
directly pointed back to Trump and his first administration in 2019 when he bungled diplomatic relations so fucking badly that Venezuela kicked him and the US aid out. All the diplomatic, like every bit of intel, the DEA was kicked out, the CIA was kicked out, all because he bungled it in his first administration. So he didn't know how to do his fucking job. And now we are paying for it, and not we, this regime, we, our sons and daughters that are stuck out there on those ships about to invade and sitting in a complete ripe opportunity for another terrorist attack like the USS Cole. So during the holidays, our young and men and women are sitting out there just waiting to get fucking blown up because our president doesn't know how to handle international diplomatic relations.
And let's just say let's just say for argument's sake, we're not going to invade Venezuela, okay? And there isn't going to be a terrorist attack. Just like all those troops that are sitting on the National Guard that are in the southern border, right? That costs money. That
Yeah.
costs time and people away from their family. There's, like just you have 18 ships and stealth bombers and all that, even if it's just saber rattling. Do you know how much that costs
Yeah.
in terms of these fiscal
personnel
conservatives
time.
or the National Guard going into cities and just basically picking up trash and walking around and, with this ICE Gestapo that's running around doing their job like poorly and screwing everything else. Like do you know how much money all this is costing?
Yep.
Like these are not serious people. And the scary part is that's the least bad scenario, is just wasting money and time and screwing around
Right.
people's lives. That's the least bad scenario.
Yeah.
The other one, everything else scales up to be horrible.
Right.
Yeah.
We invade Venezuela and it's like, well, look what America got. No, fool. That's what corporate interests got. You're not
Yes.
getting
Yeah.
shit.
Right. That oil money ain't trickling down to you, especially if you're over here stumping against universal health care and
Yeah.
So
So,
you're
like,
just
I
wanting
heard
oil barons to get rich off our kids' blood. Okay.
Right.
So I was listening to Stephanie Wilson yesterday talk with Christopher Armitage, who I would love to get on this show and talk with him about some of the ideas he was thinking of. One of them was go call the donors to all of the representatives, your representative and your senators. Go call their donors and tell them you're displeased, or just don't tell them they can't. And the thing about donors is you can't tell them to vote for somebody else. You can't, but you can say, well, this guy you donate to supported and signed this piece of legislation that takes away healthcare rights and affordability around the country. How do your workers feel about that? How do you feel about that? How's that impacting your bottom line? And then stop shopping with them if they are a service that you can consume from. If they are a consumable service that you use, don't use them until they change their policies. And when they do change, reward them a little bit, give them a little bit of your service back, say, good job, you did the right thing. Like there has to be a reward for the right thing too, not just negative rewards like Pavlov's dog. Like, was Pavlov instinctively, anytime he heard the bell ring, was he trained to also want to do the thing that gave his dog a dopamine hit? Did it give him a dopamine hit too? Did he get rewarded for the right thing, for his own series of experimentations? Did he train himself to do the right thing? So train ourselves to do the right thing, give them a little bit of reward back when they do what they're supposed to do, but hit them. hit them, financially hit these people as hard as we can. Stop consuming them, start consuming us, like consume our media, share what we have to say, because that's really actually how we change the messaging anyways. If we want messaging to win, it has to be bottom up. It has to be our
Yes.
voices doing it, and it cannot be us begging people to come back. It needs
Right.
to be telling people what we're for and why they need to come to us in the next 12 months. We have
Right.
12 months to build the most impressive coalition ever. Get
Yeah.
over some of the small things that we might not disagree on or we might not agree on, but there has to be some lines that we cannot cross. Like, we can't be crossing all the red lines.
No,
Like,
we're leftists. We have to
still
agree on everything.
super.
We have to agree on everything.
I'm
Yeah,
still
right?
super against Graham Plattner's Nazi tattoo that he had for 18 years and then dismissed and said all Marines are dumb and need a woman to tell them what to do. And if they don't have that, they're going to make stupid choices like get Nazi symbols tattooed on them. So, Fred, as a former Marine, do you have any Nazi tattoos on you that we don't know about? Did you go
I
to?
do not.
Did you go to a
Uh,
European country that was fairly pro-Nazi at one point and find a tattoo parlor where you could get a Nazi symbol and know the name of it for 18 years and not get it taken off of your chest and then just blame your entire group of service members? Did you get a Nazi tattoo like that? Do you have that?
Nope. In fact, there was a guy that I served with, and so this is back in '95, and he had like the baddest ass initials for infantry Marine. It was War, WAR, right? I won't say his name, but like he got the tattoo War on the back of his neck, right? And he had the little dots in between, but it looked dope, right? It's like I was like, dude, like that's how I talked to him, was like, that's a motivating tattoo. Did you get that after boot camp? He's like, no, it's my initials. But the FBI interviewed him and took photos of all his because he had multiple tattoos, right? And the reason they did is because that acronym for white supremacist is white Aryan race. And they interviewed his neighbors, his family, because they wanted to make sure, when the FBI did its job and didn't they wanted to make sure we don't have a white supremacist infiltrating the military to try to get training and take it back to a militia group, right? He's like, yeah, dude, they took like every tattoo I have is photographed, and if I get more tattoos, I've got to go back in and have them taken. And now it's like we're just out and proud about it, So no, Graham Platt is like, you were an idiot then.
Yeah.
I just admit it, admit that's what you were, right?
Yeah.
Because again, you don't.
I would have respected you more if you said it too.
Yeah,
like
you
I
don't
would have been
fall
like
into Nazi symbols on your body, right?
Yeah, you don't fall into these things accidentally. Like,
yeah,
maybe you didn't know what that specific skull and crossbones were, but you called it by its name over the history of having it, which means you did know what it was. You knew exactly what was on your body, and
you got that for a reason. Like I have a tattoo of an EGA and my MOS, and I've got 2 Japanese kanji for courage and death, because that's what I thought was cool when I was like 21 years old. I didn't get a Nazi symbol on my body. I'm like, yeah, let me get. There was a guy that I was in with. He got a Roman legionnaire tattoo, right? And it was colored, and the guy did the artist did it was the sun's coming down on it, so there's like this light shine on the helmet, and it looked like in one part, a teeny little part, it looked like the SS lightning bolts, right? And he was fucking pissed because he thought the guy did that on purpose because he was Puerto Rican, and he's like, he's like, yo, this guy better cover this up for free. I'm like, there's no freaking way I'm keeping this on my body. No chance. Right? And he got it covered up. The guy did it. He's like, no, I didn't mean it. blah blah blah. But it's like that's the only way I would accept that is like, oh, I didn't know. It's like, but
Yeah.
a man somebody said to him, looks like an SS symbol, bro. You see it right there, yeah. Because again, Melissa's been around Marines, and I'm sure you have too, Nick. Well, if you get a tattoo, they're gonna show it off, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Hey, look at this. Oh, look what I got. It's like, yeah, and Marines get some wild stuff. Like, I had a buddy of mine get on his rib cage like a goblin bursting out, like it's bursting out of his side, showing, hey, look at this, man. Hey, look at this. He was showing it off, or if he
Yeah.
wasn't, if you weren't, why weren't you?
Mhm.
Yeah. And I think we can, like, as part of the messaging and as part of all of this, is we need to keep that as part of the zeitgeist. Is hate symbols are hate symbols. Like,
Yeah.
we cannot normalize them. And so one of those things too, I ask of everyone in our audience, if you have a hate symbol in your fucking profile picture and you are against that shit, take it out. Don't use their symbols. Don't normalize the use of things like swastikas. It causes visceral rage when I
Yeah.
see swastikas. Like,
Yeah.
and it causes visceral rage when I see people who follow me who say they are anti, who have swastikas in their profile stuff. Like, it hurts me that you do that. It's like why the Coast Guard should have never put that fucking policy out.
Oh my
That
God.
nooses and swastikas were not considered hate symbols. And what that tells me is internally they have accepted it quite
Yes.
a bit. That
Mhm.
means there is very little differentiation between white nationalists and our Coast Guard at the moment. And that should scare everyone, because that means not only is our on the ground Department of Homeland Security, the Customs and Border Patrol assholes who are super racist as fuck, and even they admit it. Now we have them in the water. Now we've got ocean Nazis. We've got land Nazis. We've got ocean Nazis patrolling our borders, telling us that only white people are allowed in.
We
Right.
And
we are
only,
going to
like,
have to have,
African men who are assholes are allowed in, really.
and that circling back, man, that's why, whoever is in leadership, they have to be very serious, because we're going to have demagnification. We're going to have,
Yep.
because again, in 95, 96, if you were found out to be a white supremacist or you had white supremacist leanings or anything, you got court-martialed. You were out. It was done.
Yeah.
Like, that was considered like, nope, don't want you in here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And
That's how it should be.
yeah, absolutely.
The Army used to, we even talked about it because I was in Intel. We even talked about it. Is the Army keeps track of its service members on a counterintelligence level of what their group affiliations are outside of the military.
Yep.
And they used to punish you for having neo-Nazi and fascist affiliations. What they didn't do was punish you when you put Christ or church above the oath, which is the problem, because those groups learned that they couldn't just openly let their members in. They had to just put them in churches and say that they were Christian or that they were Mormon. And because we don't attack religions and we don't screen on the basis of what is your church's philosophy teaching you, we do it for Islam, for people who practice Islam in a lot of ways. We screen them real thoroughly to see if they have any Islamic terrorist leanings or like their little jihad schools that we always talk about. Guess what? Those are Christian Bible schools. Those are your Christian high schools. Those are your Catholic high schools run by Opus Dei, run by your Christo-fascist organizations. They're all the same. We need to in the next, and again,
we've got to go back and just clean house like we should have after the end of the Civil War. We did not clean house after the Civil War like
Yep.
Germany did after World War II. And we need to do that now. None
Yep.
of those
Mhm.
soldiers that fought for the Confederacy are still alive. So the whole I fought for this shit is dead in the water. Okay. This is your great, great, great granddad we're talking about. I don't give a fuck anymore. Your great, great granddad was a traitor. And
Thank you.
like, we've got to go and clean house and make it abundantly clear that this is what we're not going to tolerate going forward in America. And we never did that. We really didn't draw
Nope.
limits and say we are no longer going to accept symbology from the Confederacy. The Confederacy was a traitorous group. Period.
It's like,
Point blank. That's it.
Yeah,
You can't
it's time to
argue heritage
reconcile.
anymore. So, because
Yeah,
you didn't live through it, you didn't suffer through the Civil War. Your dad didn't. Your grandpa didn't. We're far enough removed at this point that we can put the heritage thing to rest. It's absurd anyway.
Supernatural had more seasons than the Confederacy had years. So fuck off,
did.
Yeah.
Confederacy.
Well,
Like,
here's
you guys
here-
were less of a season than even some of the worst TV shows out there. There are TV shows
Right.
that lasted longer than the Confederacy that sucked, just visually sucked and were bad. You guys, like, get over your fucking selves. You lost. And we need to stop apologizing for losers. Americans
yeah.
were better than this. We don't have to apologize for losers. Stop apologizing for Donald Trump. He's a loser. JD Vance
Yeah,
is a loser. Mike Johnson is a pedophile loser, protecting loser. That's what they are. Losers and traitors. And I want that in our zeitgeist every fucking day, is real talk of treason. What does treason really mean? How did they and how are they actively committing treason now against the United States? And if that becomes the main zeitgeist, treason needs a 2/3 majority to be convicted in the House and Senate. It is a high bar. It has to be based on American opinion. We have to, and we're the voice that are going to get it out there. So
Right.
talk about treason. My ask for everyone in our audience, for all 300 people who are, holy shit, 300 people who are with us right now, go talk about treason. Go talk about it. Like, look up the definition, Article 3, Section 3, treason.
And
Look it up.
these people are Weasley because it's like they tried to rename all these forts that were named after Confederate generals because you had this push in the early part of the 20th century where they did the Confederate monuments and they named military bases after Confederate generals and yada yada yada. But they're named after like privates and people that just have similar names, right? But here's the thing: where's Fort Chamberlain? Where's Fort Joshua Chamberlain? That was the commander of the Maine regiment that saved the Union at Gettysburg. Where's that? Why aren't we celebrating him? Or I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the first black general. Why can't we have a fort after him? Like, our history is full of American heroes of every rank, and that's who our bases should be, not traitors. Sorry.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm done as a Southerner, as a native Texan. I'm done with this whole, well, they thought they were doing the right thing. Yeah, well, they were wrong.
No.
I don't care. They were wrong. Like,
Yeah.
it was, they were wrong.
And I like
Period.
all the people that try to school me. I'm from South Carolina. You can still go to the South Carolina State Museum. And when you walk in the door, right in front of you is the framed copy of the Articles of Secession. And it says in black and white, about 7 lines down, we're doing this for slavery. Like, it's so
It's
fucking
right there.
blatant. So don't talk
Yeah.
to me about states' rights if you're not going to finish the sentence. States' rights to own slaves. Like, that's the end of the sentence. So nowadays, when people want to talk to me about heritage, I'm like, oh, you want to own slaves? Do you think slavery is cool? Because that's the heritage in a nutshell. You can't spin it any other way. That's the entire cause.
And it wasn't even to keep it. It was to keep it and expand
And
it.
expand it. Right.
They wanted to expand it, not like, hey, let's make an exception for the states that it already exists in. No. Like, and why did they, again, just like Republicans do nowadays, Why did they think Lincoln was such a radical? Oh, he wanted to do manumission, which was literally a 50-year plan to free the slaves. It like under
Right.
Lincoln's original plan, it would have taken 50 years until
Yes.
1910. We would have still had slaves. Think about that. If the Confederacy said, "Now we're not seceding," okay, yeah, we'll figure that out. We would have had slaves until 1910. Stop with this crap. These were
Yeah.
not heroes. They were despicable people that owned other people. It
They
was
were
a
pathetic
horrible
people.
institution.
I don't
Yeah.
know if any of you have ever read Eric Larson. Eric Larson is an incredible historian who
Yes.
writes historic nonfiction in a way that reads like novels. He takes personal diaries and journals and personal correspondence. And so he wrote a book on the whole book is literally on about a month and a half of the beginning of the Civil War, what led up to the beginning of the Civil War. And I thought one of the most hilarious parts of that book was from a journal of a young woman who lived in Virginia. And as Southerners would come up to have these discussions, she lived in Northern Virginia around DC area. So as these Southerners were coming up, she was mocking them in her diary. She's like, these are grown men that when they are not allowed to bring their slaves into the city with them, they walk around town slovenly because they can't button their own trousers. They can't dress themselves. They can't hitch their own horses on the carriage. And these people run businesses and plantations. Like, they're a joke. They're a fucking joke because everything they do in their daily life is done by enslaved people, and yet they're out here parading around wanting to be taken seriously and get respect. Who does that remind you of now?
Oh my, I was about to say, oh my God, the parallel.
Who's that remind you?
I have a red button for a Diet Coke and a taco bowl. I can't, you know. I think he really eats McDonald's because he's a child. Like he just doesn't have like the cultural education and background for a sophisticated palate. Like he doesn't understand why you should eat certain things and how to go about it. It's like, but he can handle a Big Mac.
You can handle a Big Mac.
He can handle a Diet Coke. Like, I got a red button for a Diet Coke. It's like, wow, you have all this wealth at your disposal, and that's what you came up with.
But
that's how you choose.
Like, to the point of that woman writing that journal. Donald Trump has never. When he goes to eat a meal, it is presented on a gold plate in front of him. He is fascinated by the word groceries. He is so far removed from reality that the rest of us are living in that that just reminded me in that book, those plantation slave owners that had no concept how to do daily functions of life on their own because they were so reliant on other people who did it for them. And because of that, they were incredibly disconnected from the reality of common people at the time. And unfortunately, most of the South was common people that did not own slaves that had to go fight in a bloody war on behalf of the rich people that were going to get all the spoils, kind of like if we went in Venezuela and they would just go die for oil barons to make money.
We just replaced slave owners with corporate CEOs and prison
It's the same shit. It's I mean, you look at North Carolina, had the least amount of slaves per capita, had the most soldiers drafted into the Confederate Army. So you had poor white men dying for rich white men who wanted to keep black men, that undermined their own economic floor.
Right.
Interesting. Like, sounds very parallel to right now.
Right? Oh yeah. It's like who can we beat up? I was like, oh man, it's like my weirdo friend, when I had her on, she made a great point where she said, you had the Me Too movement and all that's happening. Like, oh shoot, man, oh, this ain't good. Who can we pick on? Trans people. They're marginalized. And then all of a sudden, there goes all that, right?
Yep.
Because trans people had just kind of stepped out and said, yeah, we're here. We want equality. And everyone's like, yeah, fine. We're just going to ignore you. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, transports, bathrooms. It's like, and meanwhile, it's like, how's your paycheck doing? How's affordability doing?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Accountability, affordability, our 12-step plan for democracy, because we got 12 months. Like
Like
this
I
all,
don't care about.
all comes back to that.
It's like
Yeah,
that's what I care about.
Lyndon B. Johnson, that quote, I quote it all the time. If you
Oh
can
yeah.
convince the lowest white man that he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you're picking his pocket. Hell, give him somebody to look down on and he'll empty his pockets for you. If that isn't MAGA
Oh, that's MAGA
in a
OT.
nutshell.
That's
Mhm.
because I mean, it just came out, and man, it was like such a blurb because of all the stuff that's come out. It's like, remember the Trump phone that Eric and freaking Don Jr. wanted to have, the gold, like it was basically just a gold-plated iPhone, and they had
Mhm.
no product launch, and like there's no guarantee anyone would get one. And it's like, oh, it turns out people are pissed because they dropped $500, and there's no phone, there's no update, there's no
Yep.
nothing. They just literally took $500 from the suckers and gave them nothing. And again, if this was any other time in America, you'd be thrown in jail for fraud.
Yep.
But
Yes.
this, oh no, like, it's probably considered a political donation or something,
Right.
Mhm.
and that,
Yeah.
and but like,
Yeah, make your deposit through WinRed.
right. And the problem
Is
we
it?
have, and what we need to do is like, political leaders on both sides need to say, no, you can't do this. And we're going to freaking sick the justice, our attorney generals on you, right?
Right.
State AGs, you can investigate Don Jr. and Eric Trump. They're not, they don't got this little presidential immunity umbrella. Get after it,
They don't.
you know.
They don't. State AGs, start doing your jobs. Like
Please.
start fucking prosecuting people. That's your job.
Everybody.
And if you're in a state, and we'll leave you this, I guess, with an action item for everybody. Start tagging your state AGs if they are on a social media social
Yes.
media, and ask them why they are not prosecuting the criminal acts that are being done on a state level. We do not need to
Yep.
wait for the federal government to prosecute. States, you have the power. It is if they want to fight and talk about states' rights, okay, guess what? My state's right issue is better than yours. States have the right to prosecute you for breaking state level crimes and committing felonies in the state for, I don't know, fucking racial profiling and anything like that. Like California, fucking arrest these people, prosecute Kristi Noem, fucking charge a Supreme Court justice, do something crazy. Like,
Yeah.
do the most extreme thing. What would happen if California said, okay, Supreme Court justices who voted yes to enable racial profiling, we're going to prosecute you because you violated California's state law on and enabled ICE and Kristi Noem and the Trump regime to do this. It's your fault. You get prosecuted. Hold those who are actually making the policy accountable, and the people who are committing the crimes will fucking stop because they won't have the audacity to do it because they won't be being told by the rich asshole that they should do it. If you go to the root cause of a problem, root and stem, cut it
Pull it
from excise the wound. It's a cancer. Guess who's at the top of that cancer? Supreme Court of the United States, with 6 conservative justices who are bought and paid for, who are doing anti-constitutional acts. States, you can prosecute them. The Constitution does not provide immunity for a Supreme Court justice. Start acting like it. Be fucking creative. And that's why we're having these discussions, is because we need creativity. We need action. We need people who are going to go out and do the thing that nobody expects them to do.
Yes.
Which is go fucking sue a Supreme Court justice. Go bring them to task for enabling fascism. And while you're trying to sue them, or in the case that you can't sue them because you don't think you have the voice to, well, support causes that do have the voices to. Support us. Help build Banner and Backbone so that this message can go out there. You are seeing 3 of the original Banner and Backbone folks. Like Melissa has been here with us since the start. She's not an owner here at Banner and Backbone yet, I want to talk to you eventually, Melissa, about how you can, how you are, because you're a heart of this. You're part of the backbone of the Banner and Backbones. And obviously, this is an off-topic discussion, but support Banner and Backbone because it gives Melissa and Fred an extra platform. It gives them a place that they can get their message out. It gives me an extra platform. Support goes a long way so that we can put these ideas out there and, maybe charge Supreme Court justices for bribery because it's illegal to take a whole bunch of money in the form of an RV, Clarence Thomas, and then go have your house paid for or your mom's house bought and paid for and everything. Those are conflicts of interests, asshole. Those are bribery. We can talk about it. Banner and Backbone does that. We're brought to you also here in part with the support of our friends at Centered America. They do this with us. They help us. They're not here today, but I'm going to plug them anyway because they deserve your support, and they're doing what's called centered policy, morally and ethically centered policy. That is progressive values. Those aren't pro-fascist. Those are pro-progressive, unapologetically. Go follow Centered America because the real center in America isn't fascism. It's morally progressive values where we want nice things because we deserve them. And that's an easy message for everybody to sell. And then, Fred, my boy, sell yourself.
So this is my channel, Mrs. from Middle-Aged Man, where I write about culture, philosophy, political rants. Just you never know what you're going to get from old Frederick, But hopefully it's going to be a little entertaining and a lot more informative. Maybe even some poetry. I don't know about with Melissa though, man. I thought, being Americans, we're all about profiting off of unpaid work from women, So
it's pretty American, isn't it?
Tradition?
Part of our culture. Women, behind every good man is a woman doing all the work. Is what that's saying.
On a serious note, Melissa's done a lot of contribution for Banner and Backbone. Like we would not be who we are without you, and you are absolutely appreciated, and I love the fact that, and for you, she inspired me to even have missives. So, one of your pieces.
Melissa's the reason I got.
Thank you.
Melissa's the reason I got introduced to Dana Dubois and Lawrence Winterman and how I started all of this. One of the biggest backbones on this entire path towards revitalizing and building and restoring a democracy that actually matters and cares is Melissa. She's brought in, even accidentally, she has brought so many of us together in such an amazing way. And so go follow and support Melissa. That's my pitch to Melissa or about Melissa. Is she's the reason we're here.
I've been having so much fun, honestly. I'm committed to going to DC once a month and covering on the ground as this sustained resistance movement goes on, and even covering the organizing entities of the event so that you can go into DC and not be duped into getting involved in an organization that may not be ideologically aligned with what you want.
Right.
And so doing deep dives like that, and just like this morning, like I said earlier, I think it's vitally important that the left, the Democrats, translate complex topics into easy to understand terms. A lot of times the Democrat or left sources can be quite esoteric and speak in sort of high level language that a lot of people may not understand. And one thing that I personally have always been a little short on for my own knowledge is Central and South America politics. So I've taken 3 hours this morning and done a deep dive to educate myself so that I can then turn around and look at the situation in Venezuela and surrounding countries in Colombia and Brazil and write an article that breaks down for everyone what we're looking at with this extremely hostile, extremely dangerous situation sitting off the coast of Venezuela with 18 of our vessels. And what does that mean for us as a nation? Why are we there? Who stands to benefit from us being there? And what are the greater motives at play here when you're talking about the lives of our young men and women. So I want to
Right.
bring that to you in terms that you can understand. And as such, I need to educate myself. So when you know, contribute as a paid subscriber or a one-time donation, you know, whatever it is, that helps me dedicate my time to those efforts to bring you better quality content.
Very true.
Yes, very true. Support me too. Come help me out at Sick of This Shit Publications. I'd love to be able to do some more poetry there,
Do it.
and get some time and things like that. But at the same time, I'm bringing you all my normal stuff: chronic illness, community building, engagement, new types of manliness that don't suck, like that aren't derogatory towards women and don't hurt
Right.
other people, and actually care about values that are meaningful. Like Fred and I are able to talk so well often because we have very similar ideas on like manliness. And I want to
Yeah.
help drive manliness because there's a void that needs to be filled, and we're going to shove ourselves into it and fill that void. And yes, use that double entendre all
Let's
you
say
want.
Yes.
phrasing, bro. Like
Phrasing. We're always doing phrasing, Fred. So
Yes.
so come join me at Sick of This Shit Publications. It's helping me build and sustain this as well, so that I can really manage this full time. So like Melissa said, any contribution, monthly subscriptions help, buy me a coffee, things like that. They all go to really good causes to help me keep doing this work and getting good information out there for you. And he's not here, but his name is on the list, and so I'm gonna plug him and give him some support. Is our good friend Evan Fields from News from Underground. He is a contributor over at Lincoln Square as well. And you will all see me if you're seeing this recording on the same day that it airs, which is November 26th. You'll see me with Evan Fields this afternoon at 3:30 Eastern time for the midweek burn, where we're going to be burning about the regressive Republicans and the attacks on Mark Kelly, and some of the stuff that we've been talking about today, because it needs to go out there. That's the messaging that needs to go out. So come join Evan too. And then, Ann, finally, take a moment, subscribe to Banner and Backbone. Free paid founding members are also open if you'd like to join us there, so that you become the banner or the backbone of the banners, and you help build this strong, and you help get more messages out so we can continue expanding and doing extra collaborations. So again, thanks everyone for being here today. This has been such a fun show with the three of us. I love speaking to the two of you.
yeah.
Everyone in
Thank
the
you for
audience,
having me. Appreciate it. Yeah.
yeah, I'm so glad you made it.
Yeah, man.
And you're always welcome back. Every week there'll be an open invite for you, my friend.
Thank you, man.
And so, and for everyone in our audience, all 354 of you who are with us on Substack, for the folks in Twitch and YouTube world, thanks for all joining us. Happy Thanksgiving. Go out, do something for democracy. We have a couple new slogans now we're getting to work on because of all of this. We've got our accountability and affordability, AA, the 12-step plan for democracy. And as the title said, and what we're going to do for our tricentennial action plan to get us to 300 years, we need to get past this next year. So tag, you're it for democracy. Have a great Thanksgiving, everybody, and we'll see you again.
Bye-bye.